But what if I told you, only just recently, we made a new discovery that gives us perhaps a different perspective on what exactly is going on with the story, history, and potential timeline placement for Breath of the Wild? Well, I think it's a pretty big one. So full credit goes to YouTuber McIntyre and his Discord community. They discovered this child reading a very interesting book in Hateno Village. So if you go to Hateno Village during the day when children are up and about, when it's raining, and you go inside the main house where you can find the goddess statue, in there you will see the child Karin reading a book. Now this book has a set of imagery that looks incredibly similar to the introduction to the Wind Waker, where we see a depiction of the hero of time with his sword and horse traveling Hyrule. This image looks incredibly similar, except there are a few differences. There's some Hylian text, and there is a crown on his head, a golden crown, and a blue shirt. No other colors. So what does this all mean? What is the significance of this? Well, I think this is a very, very strong connection to the Wind Waker. A much stronger connection than, say, for example, this random piece of DLC that came out that is Midna's helmet, or even the lobster strip that we're getting in DLC 2. This is something that's been in the game the entire time, and is a potential hint to the history and story of this world of Hyrule. So what am I getting at here? Well, I've theorized about Breath of the Wild taking place in the Downfall timeline, the child timeline, the adult timeline, and even a timeline convergence. I have videos for all of them. Check it out if you guys are interested. But what's interesting here is that a few months ago I had this big theory about a grand migration occurring in the world of Hyrule in Breath of the Wild. Migration back to Breath of the Wild. So I went and looked at all of the evidence, and if you check the stone monuments in Zora's Domain, if you look at the presence of these different kinds of Sheikah in Kakariko Village, and even if you look at the ruins and all the wagons we see in the world of Hyrule, there seems to be a lot of evidence indicating a grand migration at some point in the history of this Hyrule in Breath of the Wild. So where would that fit in any of the timelines as grand migration? Well, my big theory is that it takes place at some point after the events of the Wind Waker. You see, after the Wind Waker, Link and Tetra sail north to find northern lands, and we play in these lands in the Spirit Tracks. Now, if you played Zelda 2, you would know that Zelda 2 has by far the largest map of all Zelda games. It encompasses a northern land of Hyrule that some speculate to be the same land we've played in Spirit Tracks, but also the old Hyrule we've played in almost every single game, including the original Zelda. This part is found in the southwestern part of the map, which also would be where Breath of the Wild is located, and the northern part of the map, where we mostly play the game Zelda 2, would be the northern lands, supposedly, that Link and Tetra sailed to after the events of the Wind Waker. So my big theory is that all these hints of migration we see in Breath of the Wild are actually remnants of the history of the grand voyage back. Once the oceans receded from northern lands, they came back to their old Hyrule, their old land. And that would really make a lot of sense with these Sheikah that don't seem to be the same Sheikah, but rather Sheikah that want to pay homage to their history. It seems to be all adding together and fitting like a perfect puzzle. Which brings me back to this piece of imagery here. This piece of imagery seems to be the final piece of the puzzle, the missing link. Because it seems to all connect. Now consider this, the crown we see definitely, even though this looks like a Link-like character, the crown is obviously a reference to royalty. So how would that fit here? Well, I think that after the events of the Wind Waker, Link and Tetra created a new Hyrule. What do you think happened? Well, I think many can assume that it's safe to assume that Link and Tetra eventually married off and started the new land of Hyrule. So at that point, the bloodline of Link was within the royalty. So maybe this Link is that Link, and this book we see is some sort of reference to that history. And what adds to that theory is that it's a blue shirt. And there are only two Links within the entire mythos for Legend of Zelda that have been garbed in blue. The Link from Breath of the Wild and the Link from the Wind Waker. So perhaps this book truly is simply a piece of history that is a remnant of the history of the world of Hyrule that goes all the way back to the events of the Wind Waker, or even before that. And this could make a lot of sense, guys, because think about it. There are Koroks, there are Rito. Even where the Deku Tree is, it looks like an expanded version for Forest Haven. And that would also make sense why we see rock salts everywhere At every point in the world, they make a reference to an ancient sea, which it means the entire world is covered by an ocean, and that'll only fit within the context of the events happened around the Wind Waker. It all makes sense, and when you consider potential contradictions, well, so much time has passed that that passage of time would pretty much answer almost every potential contradiction. Like, for example, the Great Fairies that seem to be very similar to the Great Fairies from the Downfall timeline, except the thing is, the grand passage of time allows for these Great Fairies that no one visits them anymore, so they need money, and that's why they're like that in Breath of the Wild, because so much time has passed. And maybe that passage of time also answers why Lynels have finally come out and evolved, because time has passed. It makes a lot of sense to me, guys, and I think this is it. This is where I'm going to make my stand. I think Breath of the Wild takes place after the events of the Winter, long after the events of the Spirit Tracks, way down in that timeline, the adult timeline. And I know many people will disagree with that, and that's okay. But I think it's just incredibly interesting, because we found a piece of evidence that gives us potential context to at least the backstory for Breath of the Wild that we haven't found. It's just taken months for us to find it. Could there be something else? Are there other mysteries in Breath of the Wild to be uncovered and discovered? Maybe. Finding this just a week ago does raise that possibility. We have to ask the question, is there more to be found in Breath of the Wild? Maybe, guys. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Maybe we can find more and uncover more mysteries in Breath of the Wild. Anyways, everyone, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please give me a like, and you will see more content from me. Please subscribe and check out my Discord community so maybe we can find more mysteries in Breath of the Wild. I'll see you all really soon. Bye.